Hi guys, I'm here with a journal page based on the tag number 5 challenge over on our Facebook group, Art Journal Techniques. And this was a bit harder than I thought it would be. It was a lot easier on the tag, I thought. Anyway, I've gessoed the page with golden gesso. And now I'm stamping the flowers from Dylusion's Doodle Blooms stamp set. And they're not as clear and bright or solid as I wanted, so I end up doing something to fix that. And now just stamping the stems. And for this one, I wanted it to be behind the flower petals, so I just took some copy paper, some scrap paper, and masked off the petals and stamped it. Now I'm using art masking fluid here to paint the flowers and stems so that they don't get any spray on them, because I'm going to be using sprays for this page. Now I could have just sprayed the page and then stamped the flowers. However, it's very difficult. I've yet to find a marker or pen that will write over sprays freely without putting me under so much duress. So that was why I used the art masking fluid there. So now to the technique. I'm just taking some VersaMark clear embossing ink over and stamping it over a memory box butterfly stencil, and then heat embossing it with some clear embossing powder. And it's good practice to get into once you're trying to heat the clear embossing powder, to wait until your heat gun is too hot to touch on your hand. And now I'm taking a KaiserCraft template called Butterfly and inking it up again with some VersaMark ink. Just wanted a bit of a different style of butterfly for that one. So there we go, the 3 butterflies are done, and now I'm into the fun stuff, the spraying. But first I wanted to try and protect my other pages. I could have just loosely put this cloth between the pages of the book, but it doesn't tend to stick, so that's why I wrapped it and taped it up with some masking tape, and it worked a charm. So I'll be doing that from now on when I'm using sprays. Okay, so this is Azure Blue Asters Starburst Stain by Lindy Stamp Gang. It's a pretty blue. And I'm spritzing the sprays with water as well, so they flow and mix more easily. And Heidi Swapp, we've had butter and now citron, and I'm going to be using sweet mint. It's a pretty green. It's sort of like an aqua more than a mint. And so they're blending nicely together with the water. Now I'm just trying to wipe off these embossed butterflies from the sprays that have gone over the top. And it's probably a good habit to get into slightly heat setting your sprays, so that when you go to wipe it off the heat embossed area, you're not lifting it up off the page as well. Now I'm just trying to define these butterflies, and I'm using that Azure Blue Asters Starburst spray. I really love the look of sprays, but gee, they're hard to work on top of. So once you've sprayed an area, there's very little that you can put on top that doesn't get affected by the sprays. Now you can put on spray on a workable fixative, but you've got to be very careful of that too, that it doesn't blend what you already have on the page, because the sprays are reactive. Oh, and I had to put some um, gold colour shine on there as well. It's just the best gold I have come across. Gold spray. So yeah, but I've tried a workable fixative, and it still it still lifts and reacts to anything I put on top of it. Anyway, I'll try. So I'm removing the masking fluid, the dried masking fluid now. That worked quite well. So I want to redefine those butterflies. So I'm taking a NeoColor II water-soluble oil, or no, they're wax pastels. So going around the butterflies, and then I'll activate that with a water brush. Yeah, I thought the ink, it didn't really completely cover every area that it was supposed to. So it was, yeah, a bit dull. So I decided to brighten it up with some black markers. But I've just realised, I've just read the labels on the pen, on this friction pen, and realised that it can be removed by friction. Oh, I can't talk. So remember the other page, or a recent page I did, and I wrote down the author of a quote, and I heat set it and it removed it. So now I know. So I ended up using a Unipin fine line pen, and also a PITT Artist brush pen for the larger areas there, to colour in all that black area of those flowers. And it really made a difference, and it was fine. It took a bit of time, but I'm always thinking when I'm colouring away. Now I thought those white areas of the stems could be a bit brighter, so I took a extra fine point Sharpie pen. I couldn't even be bothered to go to the flowers and go over those. It was enough just the stems. Now this book I'm working on is an old recipe book that I've repurposed as a journal. And it has borders on every page, and you can faintly see the border there at the top of that page. So I decided I'd just use that border for this page. So I'm just going over those lines with the black PITT Artist brush pen. And there are two sets of lines, so a thick and a thin. So I'm going over the thin line with the black uni pin, fine line pen. And it was a bit hard to write over the sprays, and I found that the less pressure you put on the pen to the page, the better it worked. So now I'm taking a PortaCraft alphabet stamp set to stamp the quote, and using Ranger Jet Black Archival ink. And again, it does not stamp solid, so I end up having to go over that as well. And that has a lot to do with the sprays. Almost forgot to stamp the entire quote. So I'm missing two words between own and butterfly. I do realise, and thank goodness there was room. So you'll notice that I am positioning my letter stamps where I need two of them, like with the butterfly and the always. So adding them and then removing them and placing them where they are within the word again. That helps to position them where they should be to leave you enough space. And that was, yeah, well, I did finish it. So always be your own kind of butterfly. So I'm now going over the quote with the black PITT Artist brush pen. I thought it needed just a little bit of colour to give it some contrast, so I took a bit of watercolour paper here that I'd had in my stash, which had been coloured with some Lindy Stamp Gang Magicals, and just stamped a butterfly onto it and cut it out with this die, the matching die. It's a KaiserCraft butterflies set, and adhered that down to the page with some Scotch Quick Dry adhesive. And then I think page done. So heat embossing today. I'm glad that one's over those. So head on over to our Art Journal Techniques Facebook page and have a look at all the other tag challenges I've posted up there, and look at everyone else's work, what they've done, because every page is different. So the next tag challenge won't be until the new year, 2018. So I'll take this opportunity to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for your support throughout the year, and I'll see you next year. Bye.